Hi everyone, my name is Vishal Singh and I'll be teaching you chess today. So in the previous class, we learned what castling is, what stalemate is. I briefed you about it in the previous class, and I also told you always avoid the stalemate if you're on the winning position, but always try for a stalemate if you're on the losing. So that was about the previous class. So today you'll be teaching about the movement of rook in detail. I've already told you how the rook moves, but today we'll learn how to utilize the rook in the actual game. I've made quite a lot of puzzles for you guys, so that would be really interesting, and how to even use a rook in an efficient way. So I'll be giving you a quick revision about the movement, very in a very brief manner, and then I'll explain you about how to utilize the rook in an actual game. All right, so let's start this. I'll be sharing my screen now. All right. So for the revision part, obviously I've told this multiple times, and you might even remember this by now. Rook will always move in a vertical and horizontal manner. So this is a very simple one. So this is basically rook two. You might know, say the name of the move I told you, remember? So rook to e7. So these are the very quick revisions I'm going to give you, and then we'll move on to the puzzles right after this. So this will take two moves again, very simple. So rook to c5 and then rook to g5. Great. Now this is where you should learn how to rook and how to use rook efficiently. Now, if there are two options for you to capture all the stars, right? There are three stars, and you have an option. Either you can capture the left star first, or you can capture the right star first. What would you go? What would you do? Pause the video and think, and come back. So, if you chose to capture the right star first, you would be wrong. I mean, there's no harm in capturing the right star first, but that would be an inefficient way. I'll tell you now why. Because if you went for the right star, you will be wasting an extra move. You can capture all the required all the stars on the board in just three moves. If you went for the star at the right, you will be using an extra move. I'll show you how. So you take your rook to g4, then you come down to capture the star at g3. You move towards the left at a3 to move closer to the star at a4, and then finally capture the star at a4. Now the arrows, the number of arrows, uh, tells you how many moves you're playing. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So it took you 4 moves to capture these three stars if you captured the right star first at G4. But if you captured the left star first at A4, it will only take you 3 moves. I'll show you how. 1, 2 to capture this star, and then finally 3. See? Very simple. So we'll now that you know what is the efficient way, we'll move ahead. 1, 2, and then 3. Simple. Yeah. And now in the similar manner, the again pause the video, think how many moves it would require to capture all the stars, and then come back. And which star would you capture first? Well, if you thought of capturing this star at g8 first, that would be wrong because it will take you a lot of moves. I'll again show you how. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. See, it took you six moves to capture all of the stars. But if you were to capture, the star at h7 first, it will only take you 5 moves. 1, 2, 3 to capture this star, 4 coming back to capture this star at g8, and then finally 5. Okay, so this is the long arrow. These are actually two arrows. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. See? So always think before using your rook and what is the best efficient way. And this isn't specific to rook only, because every piece has you can play every piece in an efficient manner. Like you can complete the same task in less number of moves. So always go for that. All right. So now that you know the answer, 1, 2, 3, now to g8, 4, and then finally 5. See, really simple. Yeah. So now you have two rooks, and it is actually quite simple. So first we'll go to a4, rook to h4. That was it for this rook. Now you have to use another rook, because if you use the same rook, you will be again wasting a move. So really simple. And finally, yeah, okay, this is another tricky one. So the rook at a1 is will only be using this to capture these two stars. That is it for the rook at a1. All right. But to capture rest of these stars, we'll be using the rook at f3. Now again, the efficient way would be pause the video and come back. All right. So first you have to capture the star at the bottom. You come back to capture the star at f7. Then again, you have two options again. You can either go right or you can go left. So the best option again would be pause the video and come back, would be to go for the star at the left. Okay, because you need to capture the star at g4 at the end. Okay, so you do not want to come back. You don't want to, roam around the whole board and come back again. So you capture the star at g7 and then finally down to g4. See, if you went for the star at, the right, I'll show you what happens. How many moves it will take you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. See, it took you six moves. But if you went for the left star first, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to capture this star, and then finally 5. Only 5 moves. So that is the easy way. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Simple. This one being the very easiest one. Rook to d1 and then rook to d5. All right. So yeah. So that was all about the revision I wanted to give you about the rook, the movement of the rook. All right. So that was now we'll be doing some puzzles. All right. I've made these puzzles for you to give you a live simulation of how the game would be and how you have to use your rook in the game to attack. So in this, all you have to do is use your rook to attack the enemy piece. Now the enemy piece that you have to attack, you'll have to look carefully to find a piece that is not being protected. All right. So if you were to randomly attack any piece, that would, you'll lose your rook. All right. So if suppose you were to, attack this bishop at e5, why would you attack this bishop using your rook? If you were to attack this bishop, which is being again protected by the pawn at f6, you will be in disadvantage. You know why? Because the rook is worth 5 points. All right. And the bishop is only worth 3 points. So you will be losing 5 points. Your enemy will only lose 3 points. So you will be in a bigger disadvantage. Correct? So in these puzzles, all you have to look for is pieces that are not protected and attack them. So do you see any piece that is not protected over here? This is not protected, but you cannot directly attack it using your rook. It will take you more moves. The enemy rook doesn't actually need quite a lot of protection because it has a wide range itself. You cannot go into the enemy rook's range itself actually. Again, attacking the king will take you too many moves, way too much of a trouble. And this is protected by the king. This is protected by the king. The bishop is protected as well, so is this pawn. The only piece that is not protected and we can attack is bishop. You know why? Because the enemy bishop has an attack range like this, and a rook can slide in between, right? So the best move over here would be to attack this bishop using your rook. Simple. Now this is how you find a weak point in an enemy's game, and this is how you attack. All right, so moving on to the next one. All right, so again, very simple. These three are protected. So is this protected by the king. These two are not protected, but again, it will take us a lot of hassle to, attack this individually. While this is actually protected by the knight. Okay, so again, the rook itself doesn't need quite a lot of protection, but in most cases, but it does need protection when the game is really intense. The only piece that is actually free and not protected by anything is this, because the attack range is limited to these many places and we can easily slide in our rook in between. Got it? So rook to b1 again. This is how you find a piece that is free and not protected. Always carefully look for the piece. All right, to the next one. Now, yeah. So again, look for the piece not being protected. This is protected. So is this. So is this, and so is the bishop protected by the pawn at f7. You cannot, directly attack the rook because you'll be in the enemy rook's attack range. See, if I were to attack directly uh, the enemy rook by moving my rook to d1, he can directly capture my rook. And I lost my 5 points without even thinking what I did. So always avoid directly attacking your rook if it is not supported by any other thing. Suppose if it was supported by my king over here. So this is just an example. Suppose it was supported by my king and then the enemy rook captured my rook and then I capture the enemy rook as well. So that would be an equal exchange. It would be okay to do, but not the best solution to do because you lost 5 points, the enemy lost 5 points as well. So there's no advantage getting to anyone. All right. So this is just an equal exchange. But now that you'll have to look free pieces, these 3 pawns are the only pieces that are not being protected by anything. So all you have to do is bring your rook to e7. Cool. Now if the enemy even were to save this pawn, you can still capture the pawn at b7. Got it? So now let's move ahead. By the way, these are all how you'll be playing the game in actual life, in the actual game. So please pay attention over here. Now, see if you again if you were to capture the enemy rook and the enemy rook captures your rook, it would again be an equal exchange. No good would be coming out of this. You will be equal. You have a queen, the enemy has a queen. You have a rook, the enemy has a rook. You even have equal number of pawns, so you are at equal points. Nothing good will happen. Nor will anything bad happen. So this is just an equal exchange. But if you were to attack the enemy queen using your rook by moving your rook to b1. Now if he was to capture your rook, that would be an advantage. Why? Because then you can capture the enemy queen. I'll tell you why. See, now you play your rook to b1. Now what happened? You lost a rook, you lost 5 points. That's okay, but your enemy lost a queen, and the queen is worth how many points? 9 points, right? So enemy lost 9 points and you only lost 5 points. So you are in advantage by 4 points in total. If the situation is like this, always do the exchange. All right. So in these situations like this, try to attack a piece that is worth more points than your piece, only when your piece is supported by something. Cool. So if suppose my piece was not supported by anything like this, and then you try to attack a piece that is worth more, you just lose your 5 points for nothing. Okay. We're moving on to the next one. So again, look for the piece not being protected. The rook really doesn't need a lot of protection in this case. So yeah, the pawns are being protected by the king. This is being protected by the pawn at b7. This again will be needing a lot of moves to just capture this. This pawn is being protected by the pawn at h7. So the only piece that is not protected by anything and is easier to capture, easier to attack, not capture, would be the bishop at g7. So the simple move, your simple move should be rook to e7. Got it? Really simple. Let's head on to the next one. Yeah. Now, if again, this time you're not, you don't really use your, you can directly use your rook as well. You can, play rook to c1. Any guesses why? Pause the video, think of a reason, and then come back. So the rook again not needing a lot of protection by itself, because it is quite strong itself. Now the king is protecting these two, so these are safe, and these two are protecting this pawn at b6. So this is safe as well. You can directly attack this piece. This is completely free, but you should not, because if you move to your rook to e7 to attack this piece, yeah, the bishop will probably capture your rook. So this block is the attack range of the knight. Okay, so you do not move any of these pieces over here. Always look out for the attack range of the enemy pieces before you play the game. This is very important. Okay, so even, and this piece is being protected by the pawn again. So the best, so this is the only piece, the knight, that is not protected by anything. So you play rook to c1. Got it? To attack this piece. Very simple. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, again. So now you see the enemy here has planted two rooks in a line to attack this pawn. So even if the exchange happens, uh, the enemy will lose a rook, you will lose a rook, but you will also rook a pawn in addition. So what the enemy is trying to gain 1 point by doing an exchange. I'll show you how. Suppose I play this. All right. No. Suppose I play this. Now the enemy captures your pawn at b2. You capture the rook, and the enemy again captures your rook. So you lost an additional pawn, but two. But you can do the similar thing. You can use the power of two rooks combined. That is a lot actually. So you can play rook to g1. Now what you're doing is you're directly threatening the pawn right in front of the king. All right, so that would be a good move to play. See, the king has to get out of the way. Always use this if you have the chance to use this, because honestly, being supported by another rook is quite powerful. Now again, in the previous example, not the exact previous, in somewhere in here, I told you, if you're attacking queen and it is supported by another piece, always attack the queen, because you will be attacking something that is worth a lot more points than your piece. But even if the exchange happens, you'll be in advantage. So similarly, in this case, the best option would be rook to d7. Cool, because you're attacking the queen directly. Even if the queen, were to capture your rook, you would again capture the queen. So you will be in advantage by a lot of points here. Now this is the final one. This is an exchange. All right. So here an exchange is going to occur. But how to turn an exchange even in your favor? See, if you were to directly capture the rook, the enemy rook at b2, and then the enemy were to capture your rook at b2, you'll have to move the king out of the way, because you cannot bring your rook to protect, because you will be losing your rook in this case. So you lost 10 points, two rooks, while the enemy only lost one rook. So what you have to do in such cases is, instead of directly, attacking the enemy rook, you bring another rook in between at d2. So the next move, the enemy has to attack your rook, and then you have to attack the enemy rook to make it even. So you at least did not go in at a disadvantage. Got it? Simple. So that was all about the today's class. I gave you a quick revision about how the rook moves and how to use it efficiently, how to look for pieces that are not being protected and how to target them, and how to use rook in an exchange and turn things around in your favor. So that was all for today, and I'll tell you what you'll be learning in the next class. Give me a second. Okay, so you will be learning how to attack using the king. All right, so today you had learned how to, I told you again, you learned how to use the rook. So in the next class, you'll learn how to attack using the rook. All right, so that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you learned a lot of things. So have a nice day. Thank you so much. Bye.